So I think, as ever in the NHS, it's like a patchwork quilt. There are some people who are very enthusiastic and very engaged, and there are some people who still, I think, don't really know what it's all about. And if they come along to meetings, it's because it's part of some kind of incentive scheme to do so. And I think the challenge for us as clinical commissioners is to move people beyond that, to make it sufficiently relevant to their own day-to-day work that it is worth coming along, not just because you're told you have to, but because actually there might be something in it for the practice, the patients, and just your day-to-day working life.
In Bedfordshire, I think we're quite lucky because some of us have fought for quite a long time to keep what were originally, with all the reorganisation, groups of practices meeting together. So we have localities, and actually the majority of those localities get on amongst themselves really quite well and have been doing so for more than 10 years. So they are actually, I think they accept the concept. In many ways they quite like to get on with the day job and let a few people get on with the commissioning side of the work.
My own experience within Tower Hamlets is basically around, we've had a kind of commissioning development which has been able to engage us at a primary care level, simple things, just looking at referrals, referral pathways, actually comparing referral activity, not just within our own practice, but actually within our networks of practice, has actually been very illuminating for all of us. And actually using it in a very constructive way to learn about areas that you may not be familiar with, and actually to share best practice with other colleagues and actually other practices within the kind of network structure has been very helpful.
We've set up an extranet. We've published a newsletter on a very regular basis, which is an email newsletter with links to different things that may be of interest. We've set up a response to practices. So on the extranet, there's the big red button that you can press and raise a query. So we're trying to use it so that it's not just about practices doing stuff, it's about what help can we offer to practices. So if you have a question with all the changes, who do I contact about payments or whatever, we can say, well, it's now NHS England and speak to this person. So we're trying to keep people engaged in a two-way street.
It's absolutely essential that we work in a way that makes people feel like it is their organisation and that they have a stake in it and an ability to influence what goes on in it. So the way we've organised the commissioning group is with syndicates of practices where the syndicate leads are absolutely the conduit between the board and the membership. And it's a two-way process. They both communicate into the board what members are feeling, what they see as priority areas, and the board then can communicate and work with the syndicates to raise awareness about commissioning priorities and develop ideas about how to tackle them.
There's also some work around actually education, and that's education within us, with us, for us, within our practices and within our networks to kind of improve our skill base. And again, feeding back with the data that we've kind of produced from our networks. And there's also a bit of work around actually engaging with our local communities and actually thinking about relationships in ways that we've never thought of or never considered before. So we have a kind of external educational part of our commissioning development, and as an example, we have an after-school club where we have kids from our local primary school coming to the surgery and actually being taken through sessions on first aid, on health, on diet, and all of these things. And hopefully, in the long run, that will kind of feed back into the school and possibly into the wider community and maybe have a ripple effect on the community.
We have a statutory duty to improve the health of the population, but also improve the quality of general practice. And our challenge is to find the points where those two things collide in ways that will, I think, make GPs' lives easier. And then, if we get that right, I think we'll get more enthusiastic engagement from those who are perhaps less engaged at the moment.